Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to the AIX Forum, the second talk of the talk series, Meet the Data Scientist. I'm so thrilled to have a number of people joining for this workshop to talk about our becoming a data scientist. And this is not just a regular research talk, but this forum series is meant to be a little bit of a mentoring session for our students, and also be able to hear about the individual's path to become the data scientist. And I hope we can run this by having active conversation between the speaker and the audience. So what I will do is we will have first listen to the speaker's talk, and then we'll have ample time to discuss. And if you have questions, feel free to leave your question on the comment section, the chat window. Or I would even encourage you to just speak up and make that chance to talk to Cheng-Te in person. And let me introduce our speaker today. So Professor Cheng-Te Lee, he's an associate professor in National Cheng Kung University. It's called NCKU, and it's in beautiful city. It's a very warm city in the south of Taiwan called Tainan. And it's amazing food, beautiful, really nice weather, warm and really nice. And Cheng-Te has been like a rising star. I think you're already you're up there in the sky. So Cheng-Te, since he was doing like a postdoctoral, he was a researcher like much early on. He's been a very promising, he's been writing really amazing papers related to machine learning and AI, and he's made himself really established by now. And Cheng-Te previously was a research fellow, a system research fellow at Academia Sinica. And if you do not know, this is another institute in Taiwan. It's sort of like one of the research-oriented institute, and it's all the smartest researchers in Taiwan are once affiliated with this institute. So I think it's good to remember this name, Academia Sinica. It's like the research institute in Taiwan, and Cheng-Te was a member of that. And now he's in Tainan, and he graduated also from NTU. So he's been at all the top places to do research in Taiwan, and he's also leading a big group at the Institute of Data Science at NCKU. So today we want to hear about your trajectory, like your lessons as how you became the current you, and then I'm really looking forward to hearing your path. So thank you so much for coming. The floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Mia's introductions. I'm very, very happy to share my journey with all of you, especially some graduates and even undergraduate students here. Actually, this is my first talk about to share my personal journey on research. So I hope all of these preparations can help and bring some idea or enlightening some students to do their research. And today, my talk is about all you need is connections. Actually, I would like to share with you my entire research journey is to connect different things together to become the current status. Okay, thanks Mia introducing me, and I would like to briefly let you know my background. Actually, I graduated from National Taiwan University, and I'm computer scientist background. My research is especially focused on applied machine learning and natural language processing to social network, social media, recommender system, and financial tech, or even recently we have some collaborations with some medical institutions. Many of our research connects with some industry companies, including some banking institutions or e-commerce institutions. Okay, because this talk is about how emphasize on how I become myself, how I become a so-called data scientist. So I would like to share some of my personal experience. Actually, I very love impressionism fine art. This picture is taken from Claude Monet. You may find that the artist use some shadow and light to depict some nature scenes. So I love impressionism because I feel that can let me relax myself. So from when I am a senior high school student, I study many impressionism artists to see different style of impressionism art. So this is the first things I would like to show you, that the things, the connections from me to research is start from impressionism fine art. You may feel that it is it possible? Actually, when I am a senior undergraduate student, my undergraduate project is about how to connect fine art images with music, especially classic music. I would like to build a system that systems can harmonically connect each pictures of impressionism fine art and accompanies with some different pieces of classical music. So we build assistance, and the assistance, maybe I can share my some of the results with you. Okay. Sorry. Okay, it seems I cannot share my window. Okay, anyway, I would like to share with you that impressionism is my habits, is my interest. So I choose it to be my topics for the undergraduate project, and that is the first ever project of me. And this is my first connection. It is also my first research topics project, and that these topics greatly motivate my research. When I am doing my undergraduate research, I really enjoy it because I feel I am not doing research. I am interested in my habits, interest to see different kinds of fine art pictures, fine art piece. However, when I am in 2007, I need to back to the reality because when I graduated from the universities, I need to pursue my master degree at National Taiwan University. However, my advisor is not good at fine art. He is not interested in the especially impressionism fine art. So I'm thinking that if it is possible for me to still to do my research that connects with art or music, especially consider to the realities for the future job seekings, it seems impossible for me to focus on the fine art based research. That may make me hard to find some job. Okay, so at the same time, I joined Facebook at the same years, and in the Facebook, I find that we can using the graph or network to connect people. So that our imaginations to the so-called connection networks is no longer just to connect to the internet and using the search engine or write some blog articles. We can using Facebook to connect and interact with our friends, and we can also using some social functions, for example, endorsement and leave comment, so on and so forth. to interact with different kinds of articles and the people in the world. This is the so-called Facebook social network. But I feel that I still love art. I still love different kinds of not limited to fine arts, but also some classic music. So it is because I have 5-year experience on learning pianos when I am in childhood. So I am still thinking that is it possible to connect the social network with fine art? Actually, I imagine that I would like to let the social media message can be present accompanied with piano. So we create another platform. This platform is named Pudic. The Pudic let us to is automatically crowd and read social media message on Twitter and Facebook using their APIs, and we can present their message in piano styles. You can image that each message is come from the right side to the left side. In addition, we automatically detect the sentiment of each message, so that we can using different music melody styles or different music styles let us to understand given a topic, we can feel the current sentiments or messages come from social media, and in other words, we can musicalize our social messages and using a music form to understand the collective sentiments. This is the second work that I connect my research with art, especially using the music form to present message. However, when I am doing my PhD studies, I need to again face the realities. My advisor is not so like art. So my advisor asked me a questions. It seems you are good at connecting things, especially connect your research with art. Why not connect everything? Then I remember that I answer my advisor's questions. I answered I like Detective Conan because, as you may know, that Detective Conan it is a comics, and the detectives use different connections to reason the potential criminal persons in the stories. So my advisor answered me is that yes, you can try to be Conan. This answer or this sentence become the most important sentence in my research career. Try to connect everything and also try to be Detective Conan. So I'm thinking too that how can my research be connected with everything, or connecting everything to be the main focus of my research. So I try to let my research, especially focus on data-driven research, to become to build a machine Conan. Actually, I am also a big fan of Detective Conan. When I was an elementary school student, it is a very well-known comics in Japan and very comics in Asia area. Okay, in Detective Conan, the detectives or the actors usually using some mind map. The map connect different kinds of actors or different kinds of persons in the stories, and using the stories to reason and even identify the potential criminal person. So this is my this is the so-called connections in Detective Conan. So at the same time, I am thinking that how can we connect my research with Conan? It is what I like to do because Conan made me feel exciting, interesting, and fun. In addition, I'm also trying to connect things to reason and prediction things in different kinds of data science tasks. I connect myself, my research to social network and also to machine learning. And also, it can be thing that my research is also connected to art because the Detective Conan, the comics is also a kind of art. So I can connect my interests, my habits, and also connect the data from social network and connect the technologies from machine learning, also connect to my long-term habits, different kinds of art, and especially the Detective Conan. So connect each of these things, my research direction is confirmed. It is try to build some predictive methods based on the social network, and especially I would like try to play like Conan and let the Conan motivate my research, the directions, even the concrete research problem statement. So it may feel that my research is so connected to different things here. So one of my PhD studies is try to do some terrorist detections. This is try to behave like Detective Conan because Detective Conan is also try to detect some criminal persons. So we can using the graph data to connect different kinds of things. For example, connect a criminal event, the place that event happens, the time the event happens, even the people that involved in this event. Especially, we can also using some, for example, wire transfer from one account to another account, and connect these AV things together using the graph to represent things, to represent the connections between things. So we have some international cooperations with some national security institutions, and we build a certain systems, certain data-driven approach that can help identify the abnormal behavior of persons, so that we can have a very promising performance on the terrorist detections. Because we have some contracts with that national security institutions, so I cannot share the detail about the terrorist detections. However, we can using the other example, the movie database, to let you know the main idea. We can connect the actors with writers. For example, if they have some friend or spouse relationship, we can also have the relations that connects the movie and actors, movie and directors, and the movie and writers, something like that. We can have a graph that link different kinds of entities in movie domain. So if we are interested in a certain person's attributes, for example, Meg Ryan's, so we can visualize the graph that center at these attributes. However, you may feel that it is quite difficult to understand the behavior come from Meg Ryan. So we build a visualization platform that can help us to easily understand the normal behavior of Meg Ryan. For example, you may find that Meg Ryan is he's an actress involved in different kinds of movie, and the movie belong to, for example, dramatics and document or romantics categories. And we can also understand Meg Ryan has a husband, Dennis Crane, and he's also involved in different kinds of movies here. It is a normal behavior. Based on our method, we can also identify the abnormal behavior of Meg Ryan. You can find that Meg Ryan involved in several movies, and the movies are remade from another movies. This is quite special. So we build this visualization tool to let the guys in national security institutions to easily explore the behavior of different person of interest. My PhD studies focus on building different kinds of graph data or leverage different kinds of graph data to do different kinds of tests, especially on viral marketings and recommender systems. we try to identify the most potential persons that can help, they can be considered as the seed for viral marketing, because we can convince them to use some products and let the persons to promote the products, so that more and more people can be aware of the products and even want to buy the product. We can also consider the user item interactions, the connections between user and different kinds of movie or different kinds of product here to be a bipartite graph. Then we learn from this bipartite graph to recommend the potential items to the user. To do that, these topics, you may find that this topic is not so correlated to fine art. However, because we need to face the realities, we need to do something that better for job seeking. Okay, when I graduated from the National Taiwan Universities, I'm thinking that I still remember that I would like to behave like Conan. So just at the time that I'm graduate, I'm thinking that how can we let the machine to become Conan? That means 6 things what Conan can do. It can reason about the connections between people and things, and the detective Conan can also predict human behavior. And that prediction can let the people to do some things before the criminal event happens to prevent some people be demand. So, but Detective Conan also, he can knock somebody down, but I think that I feel that it is very difficult to let the machine to do the things. And Detective Conan can also use some voice changers to change his voice to another's voice. And I think that I believe the currently many AI systems can do that. I think that many researchers has already trying to do that. So this is not my focus. So I especially focus on that how Detective Conan can help people to prevent from criminal event happen. How can it help us to do anti-crime? However, after I graduate from NCKU, I need to serve in Army. I cannot connect anything. It is very sad to me. However, in the armies, at the same time, around 2013 year, the rise of deep learning happens. There are many technology about deep neural network and convolutional neural network, something like that, gradually get popular. So neural network to me, the first impression to me, it is something like graph and network. So it gained my attentions at the same time. However, at the same time, I need to serve in Army. During my Army career, all I can do is readings. So I still be able to connect myself to the world using some popular science. I read very different books about connect science, especially on the social network or the 6 degrees of separation, something like that, and try to understand how different things are connected, especially on the area of complex science. So when I reading this popular science, I realized that the connections can not only happens between people, it can connect everything. For example, we have the World Wide Web that connect different kinds of web pages, and then we can have the power grids to connect different kinds of electronical, physical devices. We have the transportation network, we have the biochemical network, we have the citation network, we have Internet of Things, we have the human brain neural network, something like that. All of them are connections, and then this connection form graph and network data. So when I was an assistant professor, I need to position myself in the academia domains. So I let my research be persist on connect different kinds of connect 3 different type of things. The first is machine learning and deep learnings, using the machine can be capable of prediction power, can let me to realize machine Conan, then the Conan to have some prediction capabilities. Since the detect Conan usually using the connection between peoples for reasonings, so my focus is focused on social and information network that me can use the graph data to represent different kinds of things. In addition, I would like to also let the machine behave like Conans, because Conan can detect or discover different kinds of evidence to do some learnings. So my research connections is also cover knowledge discovery. However, the story is still not the end. 2 years ago, I asked myself that, can we connect those obviously unconnected, or we can also more precisely to ask that, can we connect things whose connections are unobserved? I would like to try to answer these questions. So I seek different kinds of topics from different kinds of domain to understand that it is very common to have the unobserved connections. For example, if we are on social media, we may have the information diffusions between users in social media platforms like Twitter. However, due to some privacy concern, it is difficult to collect all of the connections, even all of the diffusion spread the links, the spreading links between peoples. So I'm thinking that I want to become Conan to detect fake news on social media. However, we cannot observe the potential, the underlying links, or especially the diffusion links between users that spread the message. In addition, I also observed that the air pollution can spread in the geographical areas. We may have different kinds of, for example, PM 2.5 sensors that deploy on different places in the geographical area. However, it is very difficult to understand or difficult to obviously understand how air pollution propagates from one sensors to the other sensors. So I believe that there could be some unobserved connections between sensors that can depict the behavior of air pollutions. In addition, I'm also trying to do something that to some stock predictions. I find that many of existing studies on stock prediction focus on using the time series of stock price. However, they have some potential financial relationship between these companies. So, but these companies complicates relationship between these companies are hard to collect, or these connections are hidden. How can we try to recover or try to model the observed connections to business to benefit all of these applications? For the first topics, we do the fake news detections. We believe that most people tend to retweet or endorse a certain post. Less of them will try to leave comment or reveal themselves when they are sharing the message. So all we can collect is a set of users, and but we are hard to collect their links that spread certain messages. So in one of our studies, we try to learn the potential links that spreads the messages from one user to the other users. We are trying to recover the spreading structures and leverage the spreading structures for better fake news detection. The second task about unobserved connection is about urban sensor time series forecasting. We may have different kinds of sensors that deploy on the geographical areas. We can consider this sensor as nodes. And they have when air pollution comes, some factors like wind directions or topography or regional function can affect how the air pollution spreads from one sensor to other sensors. So we try to predict the potentials, the spreading effects of air pollutions between sensors, and we formulate the problem to be a connection prediction problems. We would like to learn the dynamic graph. That in the dynamic graph, we have the links that can evolve over times, and the evolutional link can help to depict the potential spreading of air pollutions. The same idea can be applied to traffic flow predictions or back demand predictions. All of them are urban sensory time series forecasting. We are also building a method to rank the higher profitable stocks. Our goal is to recommend a list of top stocks that can lead to highest return ratio in the next stage. We find that we have each stock is come from these companies. However, most of existing studies using the time series of each these companies to do some time series modeling and predictions. We believe that they have some complicated financial relationship between these companies. Suppose we have 3 companies here. This company may have some financial connections. The connection may include, for example, member of investing or owned by something like that. However, this financial relationship is hard to observe. Even this relationship are dynamic. So given we have different difficulties to collect these underlying links, and we would like to formulate the problems to predict the potential links between these companies, and also predict the potential link between different sectors. Each companies may belong to a certain stock sectors. Different kinds of sectors may influence one may influence the other sectors. For example, gold and textile sectors may be influenced by the oil sector, something like that. So we try to think, we consider that we have different unobserved connections between stocks, but also between sectors. We want to learn the potential link between them and make a smart prediction for that people have the high profitable stock for their investment. So to summarize, what I am doing is graph machine learning. We are trying to learn from different kinds of connections. The connection can belong to the homogeneous connections like social network. We can also have the heterogeneous connections that connect different kinds of things, something like that, the event, time, place, bank account, and some persons. We can have these kinds of complicated relationship between them. They are belong to heterogeneous connections. In addition, we can also have the unobserved connections. Those connections cannot be observed from the original data. So we need to learn to recover them or even leverage them for smart or better predictions. We can use in a sentence to summarize my research. It is about learn from networks. If we cannot observe the graph, we can learn to networkings, and all of them would like to build for machine learning, build for different kinds of machine learnings for social good. Okay, I will not talk too much detail about my research. This table just give a very big pictures and what we has already done in the previous 3 years. They are also about the connection aware machine learning. Based on my research experience, I would like to share 3 different kinds of take home for you to understand how I become myself at the current in the current status. I believe the research is a journey of connection things. The first connection is that you need to connect your research with your habit or interest. I believe that the habits can better motivate your research. When you are doing research, it requires many times and many of your efforts. You need to spend all of your life within the research periods. So if you need to have such much time spent on that, you need to have patience. Otherwise, you will fail or you will lose your patience to solve different kinds of problems. Even some of them are difficult tasks. So I believe that the fun can bring your patience, then come from your habits of interest. And given the fun can bring patience, the patience can lead to the persistent research that can better motivate yourselves to do the long-term research, or especially doing the PhD studies. So to me, I connect myself, my habits, especially include fine arts, music, and Detective Conan to my research. I connect these things together to become different my research topics or research tasks. So if you would like to start your research career, I would like to ask you to ask yourself, what is your favorite habits? Is it possible to connect your favorite habits to your studies? How can you realize that? How is it possible? If you can come up with a way to realize these things, I think you has already with a big steps to your research career. It is the most important part to me, and also I believe it is also important to most of the researchers in the world. Okay, the second take home is about connect to do and do to connect. Given that you have already identified your task or research directions based on interest, or even the task or the problem come from your advisors, all of them are okay. You still have the second important step here. The step is that since we are talking about becoming data science, data scientist, you need to have some data, or even you need to have some weapons that can help to deal with the data. So given you have some research tasks, all you need to do is to connect some data sets or some data to do your research. You need to understand what you are solving and which kind of data can help you solve the task or do some predictive analysis, something like that. In addition, you have if you have the concrete research tasks or research directions, you also has already identified and collect the data. Then the next one is to connect yourself to some weapons. The weapons is something like machine learning to me, and they can better help you to solve your tasks. And it can be it can be considered as a tool. The tool can help you to do different kinds of, for example, to implement the algorithm, or to do some data analysis, expressive data analysis, or to do the experiment, something like this, different kinds of aspects. But to me, the data is the social network. To me, the weapon is the machine learning. To you, what is your data? given you has already identified your research directions, what is your data, and what are your weapons. You need to realize, you need to collect these things and connect yourself to these things. Okay, then the third take-home message I would like to share with you is that it is come from Albert Einstein. The great scientist said that the imagination is more important than knowledge. So you need to connect yourself to your imaginations. Your imaginations may come from your interests, because you always pay most of your time to your interests. So you can using your interest to come up with some, to come up with some imagination about the futures, that deep things that whether or not the imaginations can be realized. And maybe you can come up with a way to realize your imaginations, then imagination can bring you to the innovations. So to me, my imaginations is considered that in the real world, we may have some different kinds of observation between different kinds of entities, different kinds of things. So what is your imagination to the futures based on your personal experience or your habits? And how can you realize your imaginations? So you need to keep this idea in mind, that can bring you to have some innovative studies. Okay, so now all of them are what I want to share with you. I would like to let you know that the research journey is a process of connect yourself with different kind of things. So I hope all of you can find your connections, and also believes that if you can do that, the connection can let you have a better and a successful research study. Thank you.
Okay, Cheng-Te, thank you so much. That was wonderful. So I think everyone's giving like a virtual class. Yes. So if you can stop sharing so we can see the faces of the participants and we can have the Q&A session going on. So Cheng-Te, you can stop sharing the screen. Yeah. Okay. So before, while people are getting ready for the question, I wanted to point out one thing that, like your advisor talking to you and saying, try to be Conan. That seems like it could have been like a mundane conversation, yet that left a very meaningful insight to you. And I feel like maybe that happened because you have the habit of reflecting on what has happened throughout the day and try to learn from small experiences. So yeah. I think that was really wonderful to me, because we have so many things that we go through throughout the day, and it's your choice, it's your chance to either learn or just pass. So I think that really caught my attention. And another thing is, to the students, like I know that you have a huge group and we had some students exchange as well. So do you still have something like internship that you can offer to students at KAIST, or anyone interested in the future? Can they contact you for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm always very welcome to a spirit student come from KAIST or IBS. Because I believe that international collaborations, because students come from different cultures, then they can let us to have better brainstorming for innovation study.
Okay, that's great. I think that's good news for students, and Tainan has wonderful food.
Yeah. Actually, if I have more time, I would like to share more about Tainan's cities, weathers, or some historical sites. Especially the food you mentioned, there are so many delicious foods. When I come back to Tainan, my weight come from increase up to 5 kilograms. Yeah, so from my words, you can understand how delicious about Thailand's food in Taiwan.
Okay, compared to living in Taipei for while you were at yeah, NTU. Okay, awesome. So let's go to the open Q&A, and I think we'll have like maybe like 6 minutes, and we'll try to wrap up due to time. All right. So anyone with a question?
Can I have a question? Thank you for the talk, Professor Lee. I was curious, you have so many amazing projects and all of them are so different from each other. So I was wondering, how can you manage all of them? So
okay.
This is my question.
Great. Okay, thanks for your good questions. How can I manage them? I think that if you look into the detail, you can find that although these tasks are seems so diverse, all of these tasks can be represented as the graph data structures, and all of the tasks, since all of them are represented as the graph structure, we can use in techniques come from graph machine learning to deal with these tasks. So I believe many researchers have a very large range of diverse tasks. However, I believe many of them have some common themes. To me, the common themes is the graph structure or the graph-based thinkings to formulate the problems, or the graph-like algorithm to solve the problem. So how can we manage them these different kinds of projects? If we solve a task based on a very specific algorithm, it is hard to manage these so diverse tasks. So many seniors scholars has also advised me that not to do so diverse studies. But if you have some common things, they can link different kinds of diverse studies. They can better for your research career and manage your time and research project well. So to manage these different kinds of projects, you need to find the common things and let your common things to drive your study. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, it was very insightful. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we have, Tanu, you can directly ask the question.
Okay. Thank you for the great talk today. And I really like the concept that you said during the talk, that everything is connected. And can you give us some tips on how to get insights on those unobserved connections between these things?
You mean that how can we come up with the come into the domain of unobserved connections between things?
Yeah. I mean, you gave us an example that we can see the air pollution with how the polluter moves. I just wonder where I can find those unobserved connections.
Oh, okay.
Data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. You are good questions. To me, actually, it is. I always try to find some of or I can answer your questions that since my research is about application of graph machine learning, so usually I do some literature survey or read papers on graph machine learning. However, I spend some of my survey time to see different studies that other than graph-based approach or graph-based machine learning papers, because I believe sometimes we need to explore some of studies in different kinds of domain and to see whether the task or problem that has already studied in different domain can be solved in my sales domain. To me, my sales domain is graph based or connection based thinking approach. So when I were reading a paper on air pollution predictions or the stock price predictions, I am starting to thinking that whether the problem can be solved by graph-based formulations. So given such thinkings, I find that there could be some observed link between different kinds of things, between sensors or between stock these companies. Then I further thinking that whether the observed connection between sensors and between stock are realistic or not. Then I find that it seems something like real. Sometimes they are realistic because I can find some reasons, and then that reason can better motivate me to have the observed connection between different kinds of entities. So in the summaries, you need to explore your studies, not just what you are doing, but also the studies come from other areas. Then try to using your current weapons to think about the problems from different areas and try to give a better motivations or better reason into your formulations. This is the process of how I formulate the problem from the unobserved connections.
Okay, that's really, I think deep in, I want to just reiterate what you just said, because it's so easy to miss that message. When you are reading something, when you're doing something, you always think, how can I do this in my own way? So you do active thinking and reading, not just passive reading. So I think that really resonates, and also having diverse interest and love, try to connect your hobbies, your life with your research also kind of really connects well with our very first talk we heard. So I think the top data scientists, you could see they have common traits. To lead and open up a new domain, you have to go different routes. If you do the same thing as your peers or other people in your domain, it's not innovative. So thank you so much, and that was this was really wonderful, Cheng-Te, and I think
thank you.
Everyone who came here today and who will watch this in the future will really enjoy your talk, your time with us today. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Mia, and thank all for your participations. I would like to answer more questions. If you have some questions after this talk, you can just send an email to me, and I also very welcome to any potential connections. I love people to explore Taiwan and Tainan. So especially currently, Taiwan, Tainan is also very safe in the COVID-19 situations. Yeah, so very welcome, and thanks for your participations, and also thanks Mia's introductions and the coordination. Thank you.
Okay, so let's wrap up the AI plus X forum for today. Thank you so much, and see you in the next forum. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.